I feel like I'm equipped. I've been educated to do my own research if I have to do that. And as I'm preparing to be an educator, I feel completely comfortable pursuing my own education as far as I need to take it. I know there's tons of online resources that I don't feel like my education is done as I'm graduating. The very invention of YouTube alone has given us so many opportunities. You could learn how to do just about anything. Google how to bake a cake. Google how to do the tango. Google how to play piano, and there'll be lessons, step-by-step instructions for each. And Wikipedia has so much information on it nowadays. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that I feel like my own education is in my hands since I got to college, and I don't feel like it's over now that I'm graduating. I feel that I have so many more opportunities open to me.
And how do you think we can change the educational system as far as having a better educational system, as far as stereotypes involving gender and race, and how we can make people more aware of certain things in the educational system?
Well, that's a huge question, and it's probably not one I can answer very easily, but as a future educator, and based on my experience in classrooms and things like that, with that hat on, I feel like the first step, the most obvious, is making sure the teachers are aware of these things in our society, of gender norms, of racial biases, all these things. That's the first step, making sure they're aware of it, so that if they ever have an infraction against their morals, they're aware of what they're doing, and they're conscious of what stereotypes they're perpetuating, what beliefs are fundamental to their behavior in the classroom, the way they treat students. So the first step, I think, is making teachers aware. I have my issues with these national programs like standardized testing, because it's trying to place all the students in one incredibly huge, diverse country into one small box, and it clearly favors certain students. Certain students have a linguistic advantage from the get-go. A lot of the kids I went to school with were so disadvantaged because even if their native language wasn't Spanish, they didn't grow up with the linguistic background that I did. My dad was an English teacher, and we had books in the house in English. So when I get tested on a standardized test in English, that's a huge advantage for me. So standardized tests are one way that I think this achievement gap is sort of perpetuated in our schools. The other way is segregation. I mean, a lot of people bring up that schools are just about as segregated now as they've ever been.
Do you think Rutgers is segregated?
For America, I don't think it is necessarily that segregated of a university. In New Jersey, we have a pretty diverse population comparatively to other places. So I don't think Rutgers is too segregated. But in terms of the New Jersey public schools, K-12, I would say are extremely segregated. So we live in this incredibly diverse state, and it's the densest state in the country. However, with tons of municipalities. However, at the same time, you still see schools with like 99% African American, or conversely 99% white. And you see that in one state, which is supposed to be the most among the most diverse in the nation.
What about at Rutgers? Do you see like any classes that are like black classes, or even when like you party, like white people party on this campus and black people party on that campus, like, or Hispanics or Latinas or Latinos party on this campus? Like,
I'm not the biggest partier, so I don't know all the stereotypes in terms of that, but these things.
Has it affected you? Have you ever went to a black college party and they wouldn't let you in because you are white?
I can't say that I've been to a predominantly black college party at this point in my college education. I've been to plenty of predominantly white parties.
But do those predominantly white parties, do you see other races?
Yeah. I mean, we have, like I said, I'm friends with, I have diverse friends as well, and one of my best friends here that goes here, I live with, and he goes to these parties with me, and he brings the Hispanic demographic to these parties a lot of the time, but sometimes that's the only representation at this party, you know.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like, have you ever been put in a situation where your voice is like the voice of all white people in America? Have you ever been put in a situation?
I would say that I have, because I think, whenever you encounter a different race, even if they ask a question that you might perceive as ignorant, a lot of times they're curious. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they just don't know, and that's a good thing. So I don't really take that much offense to that, but yeah, I have been asked that, is it true white people do this? Why do white people do this?
And do you find as though white people have more stereotypes against them than other races? Or do most stereotypes work in their favor?
It's kind of hard to get a grasp on the white stereotypes, like what, we golf? Is that like a thing? I don't know, but the biggest stereotype I have an issue with white people is actually the stereotype that we're racist. Because I feel even that is a stereotype. Anytime any of these expectations can impact you. For example, a lot of times people look at me and they say I'm a white guy, and they assume they know things about me. They know about my background. They think I went to this all-white school and all my friends are white. But the truth is, I grew up with a totally different demographic than that. So sometimes sometimes it's not always fun to have these expectations for you. But I'm not sure about the white stereotypes. I don't know.
Do you consider yourself more culturally experienced? Because you are not the typical white guy that many people think you are?
Here, I would say I am. But compared to other cultures, no. Because, one of my best friends is Ecuadorian. Most of the people, he doesn't have very many Ecuadorian friends. He grew up in Ecuador. So coming to America, it's not like he's ever been in a position where there's as many Ecuadorians as him, even though we group everybody under this label Hispanic because they speak Spanish. But culturally, I have more white people around. But compared to your average white guy Joe in Iowa, I'm definitely more culturally experienced than that person might be.
Okay, so I want to ask, are there any final words that you would like to say in terms of race, class, and gender in your educational experience throughout your life?
If I were to say one,
potentially your future.
If I were to say one thing, it's that I guess I should mention the fact that I'm going into education. I'm in the Graduate School of Education here at Rutgers, and this is something I have to be more conscious of going forward, because as an educator you have to be aware of these things, especially for me as a white man. I'm going to be a high school social studies teacher, and that's sort of a field that's dominated by us white men. like I talked about before with my history major. So I have to take a special interest to make sure that the girls in the class, the minority students in the class, love history as much as I do. And as a white male, I have to be especially conscious of the way I do these things because I face the challenge of being seen as another white man teaching them about a white man's history.
Well, I want to thank you very much for letting me do this interview on you. And